Recording in progress.
Honorable members, good morning. Good morning. Could we show our videos to see the members who are present? Morning and welcome. Davezita, thank you. Good morning, Shenge. You're muted, Nkosi. Nkosi is muted.
Good morning, Club.
Morning, Shenge. Honorable
Yeah.
Mkhaliphi, good morning. You are muted. Your mic is very shy.
Good morning, Chair.
Morning, Dlangamandla. You're muted. Please get your gadget. Dlangamandla, you're muted.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, comrades,
Morning,
honorable
welcome.
members. Sure.
Thank you. The other members.
Morning, Chair. I'm still trying to put on my video. Thank you.
Welcome, Fagu. Welcome.
Morning, Chair.
Morning. Is that Direko?
Honorable Sampa, morning, Chair.
Oh, morning, Sompa. How are you? Okay. We do have a quorum, so we should be able to start. Let me then welcome all the members and would like to ask that all members observe a moment of silent prayer and meditation. Thank you. Our meeting is declared open. Let me welcome all the members to the ordinary committee meeting. I see we've got quite a number of people in attendance, and we welcome Salga, the whole delegation, and all the other members. I see some members from the department who are present. We are all welcome. May I request Shireen to table the what you call the agenda? Thank you. That's our agenda. Opening, welcome, which I've done. And let me take also any apologies at this point. Salga, discussion, then discussion of the Free State Joint Oversight Report. Can we have adoption for the agenda firstly? Any mover for adoption?
I move for
Alternatively,
adoption, Chair.
thank you very much, Tireko. Welcome, Tireko. Any seconder? Anyone who seconds the adoption of the agenda? Honorable members?
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, leadership of the Portfolio Committee, Salga. This is Councillor Mabua Boltman, the Deputy President of Salga. I second Chairperson. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Let me move on to, can we just deal with the issue of the apologies, Honorable, sorry, Shireen, could you just give us which of the members have sent apologies?
Good morning, Chairperson and everybody in the meeting. We received an apology from Honorable Van Wyk. Will be joining the meeting late. Thank you, Chair. That's the only apology we received from members.
Thank you very much.
Chair?
Yes, Honorable.
Yeah, I second the agenda. Salga can't support the agenda. There are invitees here.
Well, let's leave Salga because it's your duty to second. So thank you very much. Let's just welcome that. The honorable members, Lapuskachne, I see you're showing your face there. You're showing your screen there. I don't see your face.
Good morning,
but
Chair. Sorry,
morning.
I have a problem showing my face. I'm going to sort it out now.
No problem. No problem. At least we know you are here. So let's proceed then to, oh, thank you. We can now see you. Welcome. Let's proceed. You look very refreshed, I must say. So,
No comment, sir.
no, I know you survived a whole week-long of oversight visit into different provinces. So, Honorable Francel, I can see you are present. I haven't seen your face, but you're welcome. So, can we move on then to the issue? Hi, welcome, Honorable Fontaine. So can we move on to the next item on the agenda, and that is the issue of the Salga presentation. I have a list of the delegation of Salga, led by the President of Salga, Councillor Peggy Stofile. May I request that Councillor Stofile shows his face and then introduce the members also, if they can show their faces as they're getting introduced. Councillor Stofile, you're welcome. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Chair. Greetings to you and to the members of the Portfolio Committee. Today in the meeting, you are joined by Councillor Flora Mabua-Portman, who is the Deputy President. I hope she can show the face for members to see. And then we are joined by President of the Shavu, Tola Pagati, who is also a Deputy President of Salga. And I hope also you will show the face. And then we are joined by Somahashe Ngubane Tami, who is the chair of the of the working group dealing with the infrastructure, electricity. And then I hope he also going to show his face. And we are joined by Janda, who's the chair of governance, intergovernmental relations and international of the working group. And then he will also show the face. And then you are joined by Nikiwe Noom, who is the chair of water and sanitation. She will also show her face. And then you are part of us, it's a management led by the CEO of Salga, Stolembanga. He will show the face, and the CFO of Salga that is in the platform, and other supporting staff. I think Noma Wetu is on the platform, and other members of the Salga delegates. Chair, thank you very much to call us to appear before the committee. I think Honorable Mkhalipi was saying we can't support the agenda because we are invitees. And I believe Madam Flo moved to support because there was a dead silence on the side of the committee to support as presented. Chair, we are once again back to the committee, presenting ourselves on the work that we have been doing. And in the presentation already, I believe it was sent to the Portfolio Committee to pre-read before coming to the meeting. We'll be highlighting a number of things, the work and the journey that we have traversed over a period of time, that inclusive of the continuous better audit outcome, that the organization is still within the parameters of audit as required as a standard generally set in the Republic. And secondly, we'll be sharing with the committee of the long debate that has been existing between the Parliament and Salga about Salga being removed from being a Schedule 3 entity, but to be an organization that in its own structure and the way in which it has been constituted, it doesn't fall into the category. And ultimately, that chapter now is closed, and National Treasurer has already expressed its view, and the work that we have been doing between that period to date, insofar as aligning ourselves with that, and of course our view that have been expressed with regard to how do we then be still accounting to the committee, but also how do we then being still audited by the Auditor General, and how do we then see these processes going into the future. And I think, Chair, will be giving a little bit of details on this. I'm told we have prepared about 50 plus slides, but I think there are very key 11 slides that we really focus, and other slides are more about giving into detail of what we'll be highlighting in these 11 slides. And I think the CEO will lead the presentation, and followed by the CFO dealing with the finances part. And then I think we conclude our presentation. With your permission, and under your guidance, I will then ask you to permit the CEO to lead the charge in presenting that, and will then take engagement as and when the committee engage on the report. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Councillor Stofile. You are welcome, and may I request that your members, whoever has to speak, must show their face, and also only 3 of your members showed their faces, so we do want to see who we're talking to, and so we're going to ask that whoever is on the floor must then show their face. Insofar as your presentation is concerned, we will welcome it in the way you have structured it, and we will take discussion at the end of such a presentation. So please proceed in the way you have planned. You're welcome. Thank you. Proceed.
CEO, please come in.
You may be muted. I do not see who is supposed to be speaking, and there is no mic that is open, but I can see the slides.
The person that's supposed to speak, Chair, is Tolembanga.
Okay. Yes, they are still.
Are you able to hear me now, Chairperson?
I can hear the president, but I can't hear the CEO.
Apologies, Chairperson of the board. Are you able to hear me now?
Who is that?
Apologies, this is Sito Lembanga, Chairperson.
Do you have a screen? Do you have your face on the screen?
Yes, I cannot see myself.
Now,
I don't know if you're able to see me at all, Chairperson.
No, I can see you now. I can see you now. That's fine. Proceed.
Okay, thank you very much, Chairperson, and thank you very much to members of the committee. With the permission of the President of Salga, as the President indicates, representing the Presidency and the NEC of Salga, we have a 55-page slide, Chairperson. We have divided these slides into 3 parts. The first part, Chairperson, and I think this is how the President would want us to focus on, is that the first part speaks at a very high level of the report.
Can I give you 30 minutes to do the whole presentation, or 30 or less, depending on how fast you want to go, but not beyond 30 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I will do the same. I will, in fact, focus on the first 16 slides of the presentation, and I will then allow the CFO to come on the last 10 slides, focusing on the financial figures that the President has given us. With that, I start with the non-financial performance of the organization. I move to slide number 3. Chairperson, we just want to remind the Portfolio Committee that Salga operates on the basis of 6 mandates. They are articulated and are shown on the slide, and thereby represent local government. Secondly, We serve the purpose of being the representative employer body for all 257 member municipalities of Salga. Thirdly, chairperson and members of the committee, we build the capacity of municipalities. And of course, this varies on the capacity of each municipalities, but that is one of the 6 tasks and mandates that we are occupying ourselves with. We provide support and advice to all the municipalities, and you will probably see as we present that this has been one of the responsibilities that we have been so preoccupied with in the last 2 years or so. We do number 5, strategic profiling of the municipalities, as well likely to provide knowledge and information, not only with South African municipalities, but the entire fraternity of local government. That therefore it includes all the departments and units that are responsible for the environment, among others. We continue to be founded and anchored by the constitution of the country. The Municipal Systems Act drives the work and anchors the work of the organization. The white paper that was adopted in 1998 by the country that put a vision of local government also continues to be the foundation of the work that we do, as well as the intergovernmental relations framework is what we do. We, chairperson, are going to be talking, if you go to the next slide, to the fact that we have become a delisted entity. We had made, and I think as the president indicates, from as far back as the year 2002, one of the things that Salga has been discussing with Parliament, with COGTA, then DPLG, with National Treasury, and many other entities of this, to get Salga to become a delisted entity. What does this mean is that to give Salga the flexibility with which it can be in a position to embark on all these 6 components that are the mandate of Salga. We became delisted in October. Right, and it achieved 5 things that are leading us to complete the process of delisting. Firstly, we have looked at the legal status, the legal persona of the organization, and we have looked at it in such a manner that we are looking at Salga in terms of its incorporated association as defined in its constitution. We've managed to do that. We continue to implement our work following the constitution of Salga, but also the constitution of the country. So we are continuing to do that. Thirdly, we have continued, notwithstanding the delisting process, we have now managed to retain our standing role as a role player that represents local government in the intergovernmental relations. Number 4, we continue to be an employer body. And number 5, we have continued to be exempt from tax. So as a consequence of the delisting, we have not lost our income as an organization. We have retained our robustness and stability as an organization. We are sharing these with the portfolio committee because there was a fear that was articulated that said that we could become vulnerable as a consequence. At the beginning of this term of office, chairperson, we had put a strategic plan which had about 6 outcomes as articulated there. One being agility of the organization, the innovation of the organization, enabling the capability and the reputation of local government, ensuring that we maintain the effectiveness of our networks, ensuring that we drive the outcome of inclusivity and economic development in the country. And we have continued to this. So the basis of our reporting is informed by this frame of outcomes that informed the 5-year strategic plan of the organization. So our performance is against this. And our outcomes frames has determined the targets that we are reporting in this particular annual plan, against which was also approved by our National Executive Committee. Perhaps, Chairperson, what becomes important for us to state is that in the next slide, you will see that we have articulated what progress we have managed to make in the last 3 financial years. In the 2022-2023 financial year, our performance was 98%. In the 2023-2024 financial year, our performance took a dive because there was underperformance on 3 outcomes: outcome 2, outcome 5, and outcome 6. And our performance was 87%. And we have managed to respond to that dip because based on the performance evaluation that has been made, the financial year 2024-2025, we have managed to pick up again our performance. And as per the Auditor General's assessment, we now have managed to achieve 98% of our annual plans. The next slide, Chairperson, summarizes to the portfolio committee and yourselves on how we have performed. This particular slide indicates how we have performed from as far back as 2012 up to the 2025 financial years, and we have put those into the terms of office. The first term of office being 2012 up to the 2015, all the way up to 2025. The next slide, which is a pie, is perhaps the slide that the president of Salga wants to speak to at most. And this basically gives the highlights of our performance. And I might just spend 2 minutes on each and every one. Chairperson, for the 13th year consecutively, Salga has managed to secure an unqualified audit. This is something we pride ourselves because it gets to be achieved under very difficult circumstances given the state of our municipalities. In fact, a number of observers have been asking us the question, how is it that Salga continues to achieve unqualified audit opinions, and yet there are big challenges in the municipalities. Number 2, we have managed to achieve another 5-year agreement with our unions, thus giving stability to the municipal sector for the next 5 years between the period 2024 up to 2029. We are servicing that relationship with our unions almost on a regular basis. The presidency of SAL sits and meets our unions twice a year, individually and sometimes collectively. And so the relationship is what has led to the stability that the country is seeing. It doesn't mean there are no sporadic strikes or disputes that take place from time to time, but overall the sector has been maintained. In summary, about 4,300 municipal officials have gone through a municipal capacity training. These are both elected and appointed officials. And just last year, more or less about 4,300 councillors and municipal officials training. Salga has about 300 legal cases that it is going through, either taken to court by individual organizations, sometimes by organizations that are in dispute with Salga. We have been defending the local government, including the number of municipalities at this rate. Out of the plus 87 successfully, others are still in the process of dispute. At this rate, we now have established a youth commission chairperson, which is focusing on young councillors that are playing a very important role. And I think we need the next or the upcoming elections. We did anticipate and continue to anticipate that there's going to be more young people that we are also catering that become elected officials in the municipal space. And we have managed to establish a youth commission that easily interacts with youth and enables youth to be attracted to the local government sector. And this is one that has been a success thing that we have managed to do over the last 3 years successfully. So it will, of course, be rectified at the next elective conference of Salga after the elections. Similarly, our staff has remained very strong. In the last 2 years, the effects of COVID across the industry and the country and all the other industries has been negative. What we have managed to do in Salga is to put in place processes that give assurance to our employees. Of course, these are monitored through the performance management that we are doing in the organization. To improve on the area of communications, and to that extent, we have managed to secure a media value of stipulated and independently verified to be about 259 million as a consequence of the amount of time and money that we have spent with the media. On the next slide, Chairperson, you will see that our performance, we have managed to achieve about 98% of our key performance indicators. We've missed the two. And notwithstanding this, we understand part and parcel of the reasons would have been issues that we had limited control over. But we are quite thrilled by the performance that we have because we've managed to achieve that particular performance under circumstances of change that we as the organizations as an organization, we are also going through in response to the processes of the white paper that are forcing change on the local government, which we had also asked for. And that is in summary what we have managed to achieve. The next slide, Chairperson, is basically indicative of how during the 2024-2025 performance cycle, Salga achieved that 98% success rate, and how we have missed the two targets, which we understand why we have managed to miss. The next slide, out of the next 3 slides that I'm going to be talking to, this slide, Chairperson, gives you a sense to the committee, where are we spending most of our time in terms of performance against our mandates? So mandate number 1, which is lobbying and advocacy, we've spent 15% of our time, and we have missed that particular target by 1%. Now, this mandate number 2, which is the employer body, as I indicated, we have already successfully achieved that particular 5-year agreement. And what we are now, we are in the business of maintaining the relationship with our unions. So there isn't much effort to maintain the relationship. It will probably pick up at some point. We are not sure, but certainly our unions, the communication that the presidency is maintaining with our unions has been quite productive. Mandate number 3, which is the capacity building, we have spent in this last year preparing for the elections. And that is because in the last 3 years, we spent a lot of time doing capacity buildings in the last cohort of democratically elected councillors, and we've managed to achieve that combined with the effort we've been making with a number of partners, particularly the LG CETA that we continue to work with. Mandate number 4, which is the support and advice, that is where we've spent a considerable amount of advice. Some or most of our advice, of course, does get taken, and this is across the spectrum of governance. This is us advising at FOSAD level, sitting in the various fora that the presidency and the whole of state gets us to be involved in. The next mandate is the knowledge sharing and information sharing. And there we have also managed to maintain that. And the last one is maintaining the strategic profiling. Obviously, we are intending to push that particular bar of strategic profiling as we move into this particular financial year. Similarly, if you go to the next slide, the committee will see how we have performed against each and every one of the outcomes that we had set for the 2024-2025 year. So this is specific to the financial year. It's not just overall around the strategic. So outcome 1, 25%, outcome 2, 2%. So where we've really missed is on outcome number 3 and outcome number 5. This is where we had these challenges, where we missed the 2% performance from a KPI. Chairperson, I think it's important for us to confess to the committee that notwithstanding our performance, we continue to ask ourselves, how can we make impact? And we have put together for this financial year a plan that is longitudinal, that is looking at how can we make sure that what we do does get impact at a municipal level, and we will be in a position to display and share with your committee when we report on this particular issue for the next for the financial year. The next slide is on performance per program. 27% that we have managed to spend on advocacy. Program 2 is the multi-sector support providing. Program number 3 is the employment relationships. And program number 4 is the program and the product development, which is something new. The presidency has been saying to us, administration, you have to find alternative ways of raising resources for the organization, because our municipalities are threatened by financial stability. Once our municipalities are unable to pay their membership, it means the organization is also likely to be threatened in one way or the other. We have now managed to put in place products that we are going to be utilizing as a way of raising resources. And the last program is around the administration, which is something that we have managed to do. Chairperson, let me stop there with your permission and allow the Chief Financial Officer to come in from slide 49 to speak to the financial figures that speak to how we have managed to handle our income vis-a-vis our expenditure, and also articulate some of the challenges that I was making reference to. President, with your permission and through the permission of the portfolio chairperson, let me hand over to the CFO. CFO, please come through.
Thank you, CEO. Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning to the honorable members of the Portfolio Committee. Good morning to the Salga President and the Salga Presidency, as well as the NEC members that are on the line, including my Salga colleagues. I will be presenting the financial performance for the year ended 31 March 2025. If you can move on to the next slide. In terms of financial performance, we had set a budget, and that budget, we had performed within that set budget that we had set for ourselves. That budget was approved by the National Executive Committee. So in terms of revenue, we declared or reported 975.2 million, which was a 3.8% increase from last year, which we reported at 939.3%. Our revenue continues to be contributed largely by the membership levies from the municipalities, as the CEO has articulated, at 818 million. And then we have investment revenue, which is the interest that we receive from the bank, at 96 million. That really was the makeup of our revenue, as well as sponsorships and donorships, making up around 59 million. With regards to expenses, we have reported 990 19 million, which was an increase of 12.8% from last year. And the makeup of that in the main is the personnel expenses. I mean, we as an organization, we rely heavily on people, and hence you see that our costs are exceptionally higher because our work is of consulting in nature. Therefore, you would expect the salary expenses to be higher than normal to other organizations. And they have increased by 15.5% to 493 million due to the fact that when we were approving the plan as well as the annual performance plan, we felt the need that we needed to increase, to secure critical positions or critical skills so that we are able to deliver on the performance plan. So that's really the bulk of where the increases is in the employee cost as well as the program costs, which is the programs that the CEO was articulating, and that increase was about 10% year on year. If you can move on to the next slide, we have then declared a surplus of 55 million, which is a savings and against the budget. I think it was around 200,000. We thought we would land a 200,000 surplus, but we managed to save against when we were implementing the projects 55 million. In terms of revenue, as we have stipulated, our levies continue to be the biggest part of the contributor as far as revenue is concerned, followed by the unconditional grant at 4% that we get from COCTA, as well as the sponsorships and donors that we source throughout the year. And obviously, as the CEO has mentioned about business development, we continue to find solutions to try and reduce that 93% going forward so that we are not heavily reliant on the levies. In terms of the expenditure distribution, 65% of our costs are directly related to the program costs or the pillars that the CEO has spoken about. So those workshops, the trainings and the staff, they represent 65% of our operating costs. And then the rest of the costs are administrative in nature. If you can move on to the next slide. In terms of the financial position, we continue to see the organization improving year on year due to our concerted efforts of making sure that we procure and we use our resources efficiently and effectively. And I think one of the things that have helped is us adopting the hybrid working mode, which meant that we had to reduce even the office spaces that we occupy across the provinces. And that has yielded a lot of savings for the organization, improving our cash balances as well as improving the balance sheet. We are reporting a 991 million net asset and liabilities at the end of 31 March. The organization continues to be a going concern, meaning that we are able to meet our obligation as well as pay our employees on time. And we want to continue to do that with the efforts that we are making around the business development and procurement and any other ways that we think we might want to reduce costs. So if you move on to the next slide, we also get audited by the Labor Relations, in line with the Labor Relations Act, being that we are an employer body, so that audit happens concurrently. However, it happens for the year prior to 2025. And that is the opinion that we have achieved in the last 3 to 5 years, where there were no material issues that were found, and we continue to comply with the Labor Relations Act. And then we also get audited under the BBBE audit verification, and we also get to submit that to the commissioner on an annual basis. That would be my presentation, Chair, from a finance perspective. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. And that is our presentation to your committee. And we are looking forward for the committee to engage to it. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Stofile, your team, the CEO and the CFO. Honourable members, that's the presentation. We would like to invite members for any comments or questions and just get the discussion going. Honourable Nkosi Buthelezi, you are on the floor.
A very good morning to you, Chair. Good morning to Salga, President and the team, and good morning to my colleagues here. A very, very impressive presentation. Thank you very much. And I think it was covered very well in terms of a macro perspective. Having just visited, Chair, a few of these municipalities, the Free State and Northwest, and of course, a whole bunch of others that we received, we have visited before. I just would like to ask from Salga, how do they not maybe find some incongruity between the achieving their goals, which they've done? I think they are meeting their targets is second to none. You can't sneeze at. But now I think on the ground, I would say our experience has been that in terms of support, in terms of capacitating, really you find that it seems to be going south or stagnant. Now, so I would like to know from Salga, just in their own perspective, I know they are not solely responsible for turning things around in these municipalities. If you put aside the performance financially, because of course that's important, but we've always said that it's one thing to have tick all the boxes in terms of unqualified audits year after year. Then if you park that, then you look at reality, what you see on the ground. How don't they find incongruity, and would they really be proud of the gap? I know that the percentages are in front of us, but I don't know what I've experienced myself is that the capacity is really quite bad when you go to some of these municipalities. So I just wanted to know, Chair, if in terms of the support, do they find that there's still, in reality, not a gap, a widening between what they've presented to us like now here in terms of the meeting all their requirements and what is happening on the ground? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Councillor Stofile, if you'd like to respond. I've noted Honourable Labuskaghni, Van Zyl and Mkhaliphi. You will follow, but let me get the response on this one. Thank you. Councillor Stofile.
Thank you very much, Chair. And thank you to Nkosi, a leader of our land. For the question, we are concerned, and that is why, as National Executive Committee, we then said part of looking into the future is to, as much as we pat on our back about the good audit outcome and the performance of the organization, and if you use that and look into the municipality throughout the country, it's something that we need to be worried about. And the National Executive Committee of Salga then agreed that it is important for us to go beyond to this point of bragging, if you want to call it, of a good audit outcome, a good performance, and this performance to impact on the municipalities. And then that is why the National Executive Committee then said, let us use everything possible to turn things around. Part of using everything possible is to use the Intergovernmental Relations Framework Act that compels all those that are in government space to work collaboratively in driving the change. And that is why you see, Danekazi, there are some sprinkles of success. I mean, you can go to Mbashe, for instance, what you are seeing there emerging is the acceptance of working together using the capacity that the Salga and everybody COCTA has to impact to it. So as if you go to Limpopo, we are beginning to see that results now. The difficulty here, Denegas, is a political relations between which we are trying by all means to manage. And if you look into our presentation, we are training everybody, and everybody we are asking to come and partake to the training. I mean, as you'll know, you may throw the duck into the water. To your surprise, you'll find if you stick your fingers into between, you'll find it as dry as it possible. And this we can only succeed in turning the local government around if all of us involved, we work together. And I think your consent is a consent that been expressed internally in Salga in our structures, and we are putting our plans in contributing towards turning the things. All of us, we agree that local government is like leg of an individual human being, and the pressure of the body is lying on these legs, and then therefore, if the legs are weak, and which in this case is the local government, it becomes vulnerable, and the government, it doesn't be seen performing the task that's supposed to perform. So yes, we are full aware, and we are working something, and I believe in the next round, Chair, of our count to you, we will come with a comprehensive view insofar as how do we then contribute towards this. And I can remember your frustrations in the various interactions that you had, for instance, in the Free State, where I had an opportunity to attend, and many other things. Yes, I think that is my answer, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can we have Honorable Labuskaghni? Your question?
Thank you, Chair. Good morning and thank you for the presentation. I just want, can you just remind me again what exactly does strategic profiling entails shortly? And then it seems to me, if I look correctly, none of the performance percentages, either of the mandates or the programs or so on, is more than 50%. So, and maybe I do understand it incorrectly, so please correct me then. If any organization, doesn't matter what your goal is, perform on the state targets less than 50%, it doesn't sound good to me. So I need to understand that, and why is it in that percentages, and then I need to understand on the financial page. There was an indication of, you said your income is 975 million, and there was an indication of personnel of 493. Is it 100,000 or 493 million? Because you indicated a 15% to salaries, but 493 million would be 50% of your income then goes to salaries. I just need to understand that. And then back to the performance, I'm hearing that the impact is not as high as we wanted. My question is, isn't it time, given the poor performance of municipalities and all the problems that we have in municipalities, and that you are the representative body of the municipalities, and also have the mandate to develop and help and train and professionalize, that maybe to reduce the mandate and the programs, and rather focus on things that is absolutely necessary, instead of trying to do everything for everybody, and in that way maybe have a better or more effective impact. That's just a question that comes up. It's maybe very philosophical, but that's something that came up in my mind. And then there's only one thing. last thing, Chair, the consultancy, and maybe I misunderstood you when the presenting the financials. You referred to the fact that the salaries are higher because you are consulting, and it's expected that it should be higher. That really raises concern with me, because one of the biggest problems that the AG found in municipalities is paying for consultants and not getting anything, or actually not the real value for that. So there's a little bit of a contradiction to me in the organization that's representing municipalities, having this kind of attitude that's saying, because we are consulting, our salaries are high. And then, in the municipalities, we tell them, stop consulting, do a skills transfer. So maybe I understood incorrectly. And if I understand correctly, what do you do to ensure that there's really skills transfer when you do go in a consulting role? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Salga. Councillor Stofile and your team, can you respond to Honorable Labuschagne?
Chairperson, thank you very much. President, if the President allows me to respond to Honorable Labuschagne, the role of strategic profiling, it is about us sharing with all of society, and that all of society is work in relation to what is happening at a ward level, and it also is in relation to what is happening globally. So it's from the most minute level up to a global. The respectability and the reputation of South African local government across the globe, in the African continent, and even globally, is what has actually allowed South African local government to have a positive stature and reputation in the globe. From time to time, the President makes reference to the fact that we once held the role of the presidency of the United Cities and local governments globally, which was something that is akin to being the Secretary General of the United Nations, but of course only in the local government sphere, or in those organizations that represent.
Can you show your face in the meantime?
Oh, apologies, Chair.
Thank you.
Apologies. I hope you're able to see me, Chair. So we do all this profiling in our attendance of various sessions that we go to, whether it is about the United Nations, whether it is the United Cities of local government, and all the fora that we attend to, including, for instance, this particular week from Thursday to Saturday, we are responsible for the Urban 20 session, which is a component of the U20. We do struggle with the strategic profiling in the local space, particularly because of what Nkosi Buthelezi has made reference to as the incompatibility of the work that we do as the representative body vis-a-vis what our member municipalities are doing. Notwithstanding that, when we look at the various platforms that talk about local government, there is always reference to what is Salga's position vis-a-vis what is happening at a particular municipalities. I would like a chairperson to also just make reference in an attempt to respond to Councillor Labuschagne and Nkosi Buthelezi that the problem that we have in the local government space, which then makes it difficult to compare Salga to these individual municipalities, is leadership. Leadership in Salga has a particular way of behavior, has a particular way of not being threatened, and has a particular way of, if I may use the term, keeping the shambok on the administration. Unfortunately, this does not always happen in most of our member municipalities. And as an organization, representative organization, we do not have all the ability to control what should be happening in a municipal space. Secondly, Chairperson, there is the issue of the differentiation. These 257 municipalities are just not the same. In fact, I have said in one of the presentations that even if you look at the metropolitan municipalities, Nelson Mandela Bay, how much of a metropolitan municipality it is different to Cape Town. Similarly, Cape Town is different to Ekurhuleni. Similarly, Ekurhuleni is different to Johannesburg. So we need to start putting together a differentiation in terms of policy, in terms of support, so that we are not utilizing a generic a tool to respond to the magnitude of their problem. So all municipalities have a problem of poverty, but the magnitude and the differentiation effectiveness of responding to that to those particular challenges is important. Which then also brings me to another point that Honorable Labeskagni has made. It's not easy for us as an organization to make reference to performance. There are instances, Honorable Labeskagni, where in our plans, for if I may just utilize an example, we will say we intend to train X number of councillors. And in certain instances, even though we would have registered trainings, some councillors decide not to come for whatever reason, which we do not have control over, which then contributes to sometimes us being in not being in a position to do capacity. What we have done, for instance, now, we do anticipate that we are targeting to have about 9,500 councillors are coming in this term of office that will start in 2027 after these elections. We have already started to lay training and capacity building so that we interest people even before they decide to be part and parcel of contesting elections. We are hoping that in that way we are being proactive, and that will also then increase what we have called is the absence of what is the impact or the desired impact that we want to have as an organization. Chairperson, I hope I have managed to respond to all of these questions. And if not, we are quite open. In fact, I think the president did say when we once came to meet with the portfolio committee in Parliament that perhaps what might also assist is for us to have one-on-one sessions because of the amount of information that we have. It's very difficult to generalize given the amount of information that we have. As I indicate with the example of the difference between one municipality vis-a-vis another one, notwithstanding the fact that they might be a particular or a similar category. Thank you very much, Chairperson and President. Thank you.
Thank you,
thank you very much.
Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Chair. There is a question pertaining to the salaries. And Honorable Lopeskagni said she is then worried with that because it's seemingly the Salga is doing what the Parliament is trying to ask and encourage municipalities not to employ. I think she was then talking on the presentation made by the CFO pertaining to what the CFO sees in so forth. That let me start by saying, Honorable Chair, all of us we know that skills it's a very serious factor in our operations as local government practitioners, more in particular the association that is expected to be at the highest level in terms of skills, capacity, in terms of advising, in terms of leading and preparing individual leaders, either administratively and politically. And if you talk about administratively, as you know, that the skills generally in South Africa are too costly. As a result of that, you need to find a way of retaining the skill. One of the questions that it has been raised some time ago, Honorable Chair, is that when I was talking to engineering society in South Africa and town planners, and one of the questions that we were debating at the time, it was the sewer spillage and water spillages throughout the country. And my issue is that what are you doing? And then they raised a very important issue that most of us in South Africa, we arrive at a point where we don't recognize the skill. And this engineer, old person, said to me, "You expect me to work in a poor municipality deep in KwaZulu-Natal as an engineer, went to school with the same engineer that is employed by City of Cape Town or City of Johannesburg, but you are paying us differently." And I think the issue here is about how, as Salga, do we keep the highest skill or capacitated individuals so that they can advise and help municipalities in responding in the challenges of either self-delivery or governance issues, and you need that skill, Salga, to have it. By the way, it's not, I think the CFO, I'm not sure, still in the platform. She was not saying we are the consulting organization, but he was saying because of how do we house the skill and we use that skill so that it's imparted to municipalities. And this is linked to what Nkosi Butelis was saying earlier on, that to see a disjuncture between what Salga's performance is look like and what is the municipalities are saying. And with building this skill, we are then saying in the National Executive Committee, it is important to impart this knowledge, this skill, without, because member municipalities, they're not paying any extra thing, they're paying levy. To using that payment and impart that skill and knowledge into the municipalities. That is why in Salga we've got a program called MASP, the Municipal Financial Intervention System, so that we are helping municipalities in addressing issues of audit outcome. As Auditor General raised number of challenges of audit, how do we as Salga use the capacity that we have so that they, as municipalities, reduce the usage of consultants and therefore grow the internal skill. And this is what Salga is driving through our MAS program and many other programs in responding to the challenges that municipalities are facing. I thought Troy, that is one issue that was left on the answer of the CEO.
CFO, I see you also keen to come in.
No, thank you, Chair. I also wanted just to add on that. I think as Salga, I think we're quite different from a municipality. I know in municipality you expect salaries to be around 30%. But Salga is different in the sense that our personnel costs are rightly mentioned by Honorable Labuskatne are very high, around 55-60%, because our asset in the organization are people. We require the skill to support municipalities to engage. We do most of the work internally. So when you see that number of personnel costs, it's not consultants, but it's the people that are working at Salga based on the work that we do that requires skills and people to do the work, because we don't have infrastructure and cars and all of that. Our assets are people, and based on the nature of work that you see and that we do, it's mostly people driven, hence our costs are quite high relative to other organizations. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Van Zyl, please come in.
Thank you, Chairperson. Just quickly on the financial sustainability program, I think it was mentioned that there's 24 of the municipalities that are actually supported through Salga for the financial sustainability program. I wanted to find out how many of these measurable improvements in their audit outcomes and financial viability. Then I read somewhere around waste management that Salga has reported to invest 30 million rand into specialized vehicles, I think for 4 districts. We know what happens at local level. We know there's no maintenance. We know of all these things. So I wanted to find out, how will Salga then ensure that these vehicles are properly maintained and not left, in some yellow fleet storeroom somewhere broken? And then the electricity distribution reform strategy. We know about theft. We know about outdated infrastructure. The electricity tariffs are sometimes not cost reflective. What concrete steps are being taken beyond, just papers, position papers, to resolve the Eskom debt and to prevent municipal collapse? Because we've seen in these couple of provinces we visited that the Eskom debt is massively high. And And then there was something about a water services collaboration program and that it supports, I think, 46 municipalities. How many of those interventions has translated into actual reductions of water losses or sewage leaks and service backlogs? And then just quickly on the performance management digitization solution, there's 6 municipalities that Salga's piloted it in, and I think there's more to come. How many municipalities are now then fully compliant with the municipal staff regulations of 2021? And then just lastly, on the professionalization, because we've also seen it in the provinces we've been to, Salga is actually saying that we need to have minimum competency levels. How will that be legislated? What is the plan around that? Because we are heading into a local government election. If I can just get an understanding on that. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Salga.
I think Nikiwe can take that question on the water and Ngubane take the question on electricity. Ngubane? Okay. Okay, CEO, you can shoot.
Whoever responds, please switch on your camera so we can see who's speaking.
Chairperson, I'm going to ask that Pauline, who is also part and parcel of the team, to respond to some of the details around the issues that I hear.
And who's speaking?
It's myself. Oh, I apologize again, Chairperson. So apologies, Chairperson. Chair, let me just respond to the question that Honorable Van Zyl has made on the issue of tariffs. There is a big challenge. In fact, the president has made a lot of representation around the issue of non-cost reflective tariffs that are a part and parcel of a challenge that all municipalities, in fact, not just the ordinary household citizens. In fact, the business citizen is they are all speaking to us about the non-cost reflective tariffs that they are experiencing when it comes to the issue of tariffs. In discussion, we are currently in discussions with the appropriate department responsible for electricity and energy on this, so that NERSA can find itself to responding to this. We do not have a concrete response to that. Safe to say, we have registered our non-acceptance of the current tariffs that are being imposed on the municipalities by NERSA. On the issue of waste management, the work that we are doing with COGTA in relation to waste, as well as the Department of Forestry, is such that what we did was to conduct studies that are aimed at assisting municipalities with waste management. The issue of waste management, honorables, we have now arrived at a conclusion that says this is a behavioral issue. Most municipalities, particularly the very smaller municipalities, in fact, the big municipalities as well, there's a lot of effort. For instance, I think the city of Ekurhuleni is spending no less than 25 million rands year on year on waste management. There are two big issues. The first issue is that there are people that instead of taking their waste to where it is appropriately located, they dump it. They they are making savings and on the costs that they are experiencing in relation to the services, people that are in the construction industry, for instance. And it's a behavioral issue as well when it comes to individuals that are throwing and littering in those towns. And this is a big issue. In fact, we had a discussion yesterday with the Director General where we are bringing together our teams to help so that we start talking about behavior. It is not that in the municipalities there are no employees that are cleaning these cities, particularly in the evenings and in the mornings, but it is when individuals are walking into spaces that you see a lot of waste and dirt, and it is a behavioral issue that is going to require all of us, all of society to do. The president of Salga has been on a campaign of clean cities, clean towns, and clean neighborhoods with a number of mayors, individual, to make sure that we start to drive this thing, because it is a scourge, basically, the dirt and the grime that our municipal managers are spending a lot of money on, because it's also a loss on the revenue, on the small resources that the municipalities do have. The ESCOM debt is also something that we have been in discussion with ESCOM in particular, with the assistance of COCTA, where some of the figures, there's a huge dispute between municipalities and ESCOM on some of the reconciliations that have to be done. Elsewhere, the presidency has said ESCOM is playing in spaces that it is not supposed to be playing in. In fact, in certain instances, Soweto is a very typical example where ESCOM is providing electricity, and yet it is not collecting in the way it's not utilizing, and it's not utilizing debt collection methodologies. And as a result, it is the municipality that gets to be left with the responsibility of having to collect on behalf of ESCOM in certain instances. Thanks very much, Chairperson.
Chairperson, there was also a question that perhaps I can take the opportunity to respond to, which was around the digital solution, specifically around performance management solution. I think Councillor Van Zyl wanted to know how many municipalities were supported. We supported 5 municipalities with the, call it Salga Performer, which is a performance management solution, and those municipalities are now compliant with staff regulations. Thank you.
Honorable Chair.
Yes. Can I ask you to raise your hands so I know someone wants to speak, because I'm not able to anticipate. Most of you have got your cameras off, and if you don't show the hand, it's not easy to see who wishes to speak. Could I ask Salga members to do the same? Please proceed, Councillor Ngubane.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Greetings to the members of the Portfolio Committee. My name is Councillor TC Ngubane, the Chair of Energy and Electricity in Salga. Well, there's a question that has been posed which must be responded to in relation to the ESCOM debt. Now, our starting point, Honorable Chair and members, is that there is nothing that escapes the cause and effect law. Now, when you look at the issue of the ESCOM debt, it means you must also use that particular lens of cause and effect. This ESCOM debt is an effect, and it doesn't come from a single unequivocal cause. There are complex, multifactorial causation which then gave rise to this Eskom debt. One of the issues that we wish to discourage is to employ some kind of a one-sided approach. We want to encourage an all-sided approach. An all-sided approach will then say, let's not look at the Eskom debt. Let's bring the principle of totality. Let's look at the entire picture. Immediately you do that, you'll then appreciate that the debt owed to Eskom by municipalities is just a tip of an iceberg, comparatively speaking, if you look at the monies owed to the municipalities by household, by government, by also the business, which then in turn constrain the ability of the municipality to actually meet its financial obligations as and when they are due. So if you can do that, you will see that this is just probably 10% of the problem, the debt owed to Eskom by municipalities. The customers in the form of household, government and business, they're really owing a large amount to municipalities, which then affect our ability in that regard. And another white elephant in the room is the issue of the tariffs. You know, there are many reports that have been generated. You know, some of these tariffs are really ridiculous and unaffordable. You know, if you look at the CPIX, it's around 456, it's in the region of 456. But if you look at the tariffs that are approved by NERSA, there are two digits, close to 20 at times, and so on, which then it's a recipe for disaster, because later on it affects the question of affordability, and that problem will practically manifest itself in the form of debt owed by municipality to Eskom. So at a face value, it is that is the question of is the problem of the municipalities. But upon the closer scrutiny, it's not the municipal problem. If you go to the causal factors, one of the contributing factor are these tariffs that are unaffordable, even to those people who are actually employed. Really, electricity is unavoidable. We do raise these matters with NERSA, that unfortunately, it is the municipalities that normally left with an egg on their face when people are not able to pay. So we are saying, Honorable Chair, this is not a municipal problem. I think our view is that let us have an all-sided conversation so that we can actually then answer the question, understand the sources of the problem, and then move from there in answering the question, what needs to be done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Van Zyl, do you want to close your issues?
Thank you, Chairperson. Yeah, just quickly on what Mr. Sithole said about the, the studies that has done and the conclusion that was arrived at, that, it's a behavioral issue. Mr. Sithole, I think I come from a very small rural community and towns, and, illegal dumping sites starts because there are no municipal services, in especially the townships. There are no wheelie bins. There are no black bags supplied by the municipality. So to say that it's a behavioral issue, I think is not quite correct. Poor communities have no way of ensuring that they don't sit in dirt and waste on a daily basis, because those services just simply is not available to them. And then just quickly on the Eskom issue from Councillor Ngubane, business and communities own large amounts for Eskom, as you said. This might be somewhat true, but I think what is more true is the fact that municipalities aren't billing correctly. There's so many disputes. there's not much being done about illegal connections. There's not much done about high mast lights burning 24 hours, adding to that Eskom bill. Indigent registers aren't updated. So I think there's very many issues. So I think, some of these explanations, Chairperson, is somewhat lacking. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Stofile.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Chair. And I think Honorable Van Schalkwyk will remember this. This is a presentation informed by.
This is Van Zyl.
It's for Van Zyl. Sorry, Chair. Thousands of apologies. A behavioral conduct, it's what it has been conducted as a study. And it is true that there are a number of interventions that have been made by various municipalities. And these interventions, unfortunately, they don't get some more or attract more support generally. And I think the study, what is beginning to reveal, is telling us what we have been talking about, cooperative nature of our government, which is the one of the weaknesses that we are having generally. And I think it is understood within that context. Secondly, Chair, I fully agree with with Councillor Ngubane, because he's speaking about the source. And the source, which is calling that it is important that we need to have a conversation with regard to that. Because it ultimately is the instrument of law that the Parliament have adopted. Conventional way of doing business. And that is why if you look into the law, it also speaks about, if you want to change from conventional way, you must go to Section 78 in terms of the Systems Act. If you want to change that. What you want to change, it's only going to have an impact into the future, not into the past. In the past is a conventional way in rendering service. That is why City of Cape Town today, as I was having a conversation with the mayor of City of Cape Town, sharing with me that over 6 organizations that are taking City of Cape Town to court on the tariff setting, tells you that the challenge is a tariff system that we are using different tariff systems. Ultimately, at the end of the day, as I've said, the municipalities are like your legs. The body weight and the challenge of any mistake happens in the value system, it ends up into a municipality. So as the City of Cape Town. So as the pushback in Tembisa, in Ekurhuleni, where municipality, a mayor was forced to review the approach with regard to tariffs. On that review, it doesn't stop the gap in between possible that is going to accrue over a period of time of money that he have not collected at the period in which he stopped the process because of pressure outside and because the tariff setting, it become so inconsistent. And this is the issue that Councillor Ngubane is talking about. And I agree with him that it's a matter that we need to have a deep dive conversation about it because it's a challenge that is happening. The last issue, Chair, to me, there are disputes in either side. Government is saying, we are disputing what you are billing me as a government municipality, and I'm disputing that. And mind you, this dispute it occurs at the point of payment. So government, because it's powerful, it disputes that. But Eskom is also municipality saying because you don't have a system that it calculates the electricity that comes to me, you only used some sucking environment, and I'm disputing the figure. And the government says, no, but pay, even if you're disputing. So it is improper that when we want to deal with the challenge of tariffs and the culture of non-payment, and we begin to coin it into a municipal problem. It's not a municipal problem, it's a country's problem. And that is why today, South Africans, including government of the day, is owing over 400 billion to municipalities. So it is important that when we deal with this issue, to me, Chair, it is important for us to be holistic. And therefore, I think Councillor Ngubane is perfectly correct. And I think this is our approach with regard to the matter. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Mkalipi.
Thank you very much, Chair. Greetings to the leadership of Salga. Thanks for the presentation. Chair, I want to engage on outcome 3, capable and reputable local government, Chair. So they are saying that according to the mandate 4, support and advice, key achievements, oversight, accountability, consequence management. Salga supported 175 municipalities on oversight, accountability, and anti-corruption. Chair, where? 175 municipalities where? So why are you saying that you have done your job and you are happy about it? Because it's not about putting on paper, but it's about the really achievement and the really difference after your intervention, Babu Salga, President of Salga. So I just want to get a clear explanation in that slides, because we have also engaging for the past 2 weeks, engaging municipalities. None of the municipality so far, starting from Free State, going to Northwest, Johannesburg, that we can say there's a capability and there's a reputable local government after interacting with municipality, especially on the things that we are mentioning on oversight and accountability and consequence management. We quite often ask them, after we've engaged them and exposed them, to say, what were the consequence management after this? Because it seems as if there's no consequence management that is taking place, especially on the UIFW. That is the money that has been spent going to council and being cancelled. So on the same slides, Chairperson, impact on outcome 3. We are saying that enhanced oversight accountability measures led to a greater transparency in the municipal operations, build trust between the municipality and residents, fostering a more engaged and supportive community. Where, just mention one municipality where you are saying confidently, Salga, you have also seen happening, because none of those 257 municipalities, we can confidently say there is that engagement between the municipality and the residents. We even raise this thing when we do oversight to say the main problem is the communication between municipalities and the residents. You can interview anyone from any municipality. They can tell you that there is no communication. When they want to assess municipality, they also get a feedback in the form of an arrogance if they happen to get municipality. There's nothing. So I would like to get from Salga exactly to what are you doing to say on your papers we have achieved this? Because where we are sitting, we can dispute without favor. Chairperson, the last one, if you can also clarify with us and share with us the programs. I heard Babu Stole saying that the Salga president is also leading a campaign, the clean campaign of some sort. Please share with us, because we love to also to invite you, Salga president. Especially, let me just say, I would love to invite you to go to Ward 53 Emauti, Inanda, because you can see for yourself that area is so dirty and there's no one who even care at municipal level. So therefore, the question that I have for Salga Chair, in a nutshell, what do you do when you wake up in the morning in order for you to go and support all municipalities? What do you do? Where do you go? What do you do when you arrive in that municipality? Because even if you are saying that you have trained them in terms of the internal structures, in most of the municipalities, MPEGs are dysfunctional. Those internal structures, which one? So just give us practical example, because when we are sitting as members of this portfolio committee, who interact with municipalities every day, we disagree with this presentation here. Thanks, Chair.
I see there's Santhia Limberg. Do you want to respond or you want to ask a question? Please introduce yourself.
Good morning, Chairperson, and good morning to the honourable members. Chair, I just wanted to supplement the responses on behalf of Salga in relation to electricity. My name is Councillor Santhia Limberg. I am one of the Deputy Presidents of Salga. Chairperson, with your permission, I just wanted to supplement some of the responses Salga provided in relation to electricity, and in particular electricity tariffs. If I can just say, the question was asked by one of the honourable members, what assistance has Salga provided in relation to electricity tariff beyond policy papers? The honourable members would recall that in a AfriForum court outcome about 2 years ago, where it was found that there were a number of municipalities that did not submit cost of supply studies as part of their tariff application to NERSA. Salga is assisting those municipalities with cost of supply studies. Cost of supply studies does require quite significant technical capacity, which is absent in a number of municipalities. And so Salga is supporting those municipalities from a technical perspective to make sure that they are compliant in terms of the ERA. And then we are active in the Eskom debt recovery program. We also acknowledge that the debt that is owed to Eskom is one that requires a holistic review. But there are structural issues underpinning the rising debt. And so a number of the interventions, if not all of the structural reforms that have been introduced as part of that Eskom debt recovery program have been requests or submissions and proposals that Salga has made, which we hope in the long run will actually deal with the debt into the future. What are some of those reforms that Salga has proposed? It's beyond just disputing the debt. We have requested that things such as Eskom's interest charged on the debt be reviewed, which is now being done and has been done, and which we are grateful for. The restructuring of Eskom's billing period is another submission Salga has made as part of that technical working group, and that has also been put into effect. All of these things, such as also active partnering between Eskom and municipalities in how municipalities recover debt, is something that we are still struggling with. So, for example, Chairperson, just to give the honourable members a little bit more context, municipalities are reliant on methodologies such as post-paid electricity systems, which makes debt recovery incredibly challenging. And so the only mechanism to recover debt is to potentially cut water off or reduce the flow of water. And that in itself isn't necessarily an effective debt recovering tool. Prepaid electricity meters is one such option that is far more effective. But in significant parts of our municipalities, Eskom is the main electricity distributor. And so Salga, on behalf of municipality, has asked Eskom to partner with municipalities so that we can use the electricity prepaid meter system to assist municipalities to recover debt in areas where Eskom is the main distributor. There has unfortunately been reluctance to do so. And so we're hoping in the court case that Salga also has underway against Eskom, where one of the relief that we are seeking is that Eskom enter into service delivery agreements. One of the features of those SDAs needs to be about partnering through prepaid electricity meter systems to assist municipalities to recover debt. So those are some of the more tangible work that Salga is involved with. The honourable members would also note that there's been significant amendments made to the Electricity Regulation Act, which was gazetted last year. One of those key developments is the introduction of the wholesale electricity market, which will have major impacts for municipalities and how tariffs need to be structured. So Salga, from a technical perspective, is working on the impact of the market that will be introduced on the trading platform and supporting municipalities in being able to enter into that market and to be an active player within what will be a significantly different energy sector come April 2026, when the wholesale electricity market phase 1 commences. So Chairperson, I wanted to touch on that. And then just to say, Chair, where there are municipalities that are submitting cost of supply studies as part of their tariff application to NERSA, what we are also experiencing is a contradiction or a conflict in law. NERSA, in terms of the Electricity Regulation Act, has the authority to approve and set tariffs for municipalities. And often what we are experiencing is that NERSA is approving or setting tariffs that do not actually align with the cost of supply studies that municipalities have submitted. So there is risk to financial sustainability of municipalities when NERSA does this, but also the Constitution, as well as the Municipal Finance Management Act, really puts tariff setting within the realm of municipal councils. And so Salga is also working on challenging that contradiction in law, which is critical to ensure financial feasibility in the long run for municipalities. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, President of Salga. Councillor Stofile, are you absent or muted? I see your hand is still up, or is it legacy hand?
It's a legacy hand, Chair. I'm apologizing for that. Sorry.
Can I ask you to make your last comments because we're closing the discussion?
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much. I really appreciate.
Maybe can I ask you? Maybe can I ask you this one so that as you close, you can just comment on it. Okay. What I think always puzzles the committee is the issue that when you account for your work, you would explain how the funds would be used to build capacity to help individual members and managers, councillors and managers of the municipalities to perform better. When we discuss the issue of ethical leadership, you've reported on issues of where you have a program that encourages ethical leadership and accountability. When there are issues of salary disputes, you come in and represent the municipalities to do kind of central bargaining and guide in that regard. Where we have a problem is when members do not behave in an appropriate manner, and some degree of censorship, probably what we could call a strong issue of society, of the association, holding their members to particular conduct and holding them accountable. We don't seem to see Salga getting in there, and Salga's response is the Salga does not have the ability to act in that regard with regards to municipalities. Now, we're just not sure how Salga looks at it. Most of the associations do have their internal mechanism of holding members accountable to certain code of behavior. We're not seeing this with the municipalities, with Salga. I don't know if my understanding is misplaced, but as you close, you could comment on that, and let's just understand at which point could we have Salga taking an active role in holding its own members accountable on the basis of particular expected conduct, maybe of municipal managers, maybe of CFOs, maybe of councillors, or maybe of members at a certain level of administration. Is my thinking too far-fetched from what the role of Salga is? As you round this up, you could comment on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you for giving us an opportunity. You are not too much. Remember, this is the second time you raised the matter. You raised it to us as Salga when we first met you. After you have listened to our presentation. After that, you had a session with us, and amongst the issues that you discussed on the day is how do we then continue engage amongst and within ourselves, and how can you help us through. In that session, I made the point that the problem is about legislation that we are having. Municipalities are seen legislatively as an independent entity, that it drives its program and it must respond to challenges as much as they see the challenges. Now, if you read the Organized Local Government Act, and it prescribed what is the role of organized local government association such as ourselves. We did took note of your deep concern from that time. And that is why, if you look at that time and today, we are coming back to you and to your committee and say, having looked into what you have raised to us, and which is you are deep in pain trying to find a way of how do we then turn the municipality around. And of course, you know it from your time being a minister at some point, challenges in local government. Now, today we are saying, Chair, taking into these different engagements that we had with yourselves and many others, we are saying it is not enough that Salga comes before the portfolio committee and say, once again, a 10th good audit outcome. And then, whereas when you look into who we say it's our members, the audit outcome, it doesn't tally with what Salga is been declared by Auditor General. And linking that with your earlier concerns, which you shared with us openly and frankly, and now we are then saying it is important for us to extend our scope, but we are going to use it in two different forms. One is in the form and contribution towards the reviewal of the white paper, because it must find its expression into law. And it must currently we are we are dealing with the relationship that we have with municipalities generally as their association, representing them on the areas that we have already highlighted. Recently, we have convened all metro mayors, 8 of them, fortunately all of them, and hosted by City of Cape Town. One of the issues that we're discussing in that is how do we then make changes in the key economic centers of the country, 8 metros, which are key economic. They are hosting over 60% of the total population in the Republic. And how do we then start there and make an impact? And generally, you'll accept that we walk away out of that meeting agreeing that let us improve our coordination, our communication, and our engagement. And part of the engagement is the weaknesses of doing things in a manner that you have raised concerns to us. And we are taking forward the program and the issues that you have raised to us in earlier time about what is it what can we do differently to change the municipal system in the Republic. So that is the issue, but it is fitting this issue towards a reviewal of the white paper. And of course, I'm happy that 8 metro mayors, they all committed in that meeting that there are certain matters that it should be non-negotiables. One of those issues is always your consent, even your historical time that you have been directly involved with local government at the executive level. And we are working, it's a work in progress if you want to take it in that way, Chair. It's a work in progress, and I'm comfortable because I'm seeing some little bit of buy-in
from instead of pushbacks from metro mayors. And that is why, coupled with that, if you remember, I think some donkey years ago, you raised this issue with me that you are very worried to see how filthy, dirty municipalities are. And as a result, your argument at the point was about if the municipalities are at that state, therefore there will be no way that there will be attraction of investment. And this is your own argument at the time. That is why, moving from those discussions, what we did, we then engaged the office of the president through the deputy president, and we agreed as Salga that we cannot take a step back and say we've got nothing to do with it. And then the Salga says, President and the members of the presidency lead the campaign of clean city, clean towns, clean areas so that you create a better environment. And now we entered into that as part of our response to not necessarily criticism, but concerns that leaders have in different platforms have raised. Now we are entering into that space, and now we have launched a program in the city of Gauteng, Johannesburg, recently, and we are expecting to roll out last week. Saturday, myself and the deputy president were launching it in just forgotten the municipality now in the Western Cape, the name of the municipalities. So we are launching this program, and we are seeing some buy-in into generally to leadership of municipalities. And this is a feedback that we can give because we got this feedback in our interaction with you at the personal level, and secondly at your committee level, and more in particular dated back as far back for many years when you were in the executive. So that is the program, Chair, that we are engaged to. The intention is to turn the tide around local government. That is why, as Salga, we took an initiative, Chair, to engage the Minister of Technology, Science and Innovation to say the infrastructure in the rural municipalities and district municipalities, the road infrastructure has collapsed. And unfortunately, provinces like KwaZulu-Natal, provinces like Eastern Cape, and provinces like City of Cape Town, and generally throughout the country, they are hit repetitively by disasters. And then we then said, in the rural roads, why don't we then think about creating a brick making plant, which it must be managed by district? As you know, that district, they don't have any other source of income. We even took away the levy tax that was directed to them. Now they have got nothing. But in the rural communities, our traditional leaders, they are raising serious concerns with us as and when we engage with them. How do we then create a plant that is going to pave roads in the rural places and take communities village by village, train them and partner with the sitters that we are having so that we use the sitters' resources in training and capacitating, for instance, construction sitter or service sitter, whatever the sitter, so that we identify these villages and launch it. And this is the issue that we are having a discussion with the Deputy President of the Republic, so that it must be driven at that part, at that level, so that it's seen to be a cooperative nature that involves the government at the local and the government at the national, and partnering with the provincial government in dealing with the rural roads. In this, Chair, we really appreciate your upright approach on matters that affects communities, because it is communities that suffers, and our appreciation with you and your committee is that you are holding us accountable on what we have planned to implement, and you want to drive us towards a process that the end product at the end of the day is reflective of the communities. Let me make a last comment here on the sense that last week, Friday, I was talking to the construction organization that held their conference in Rustenburg. One of the issues that we talk about, or part of our message, of course, learning from these various interactions, is the ethics, the ethical behavior. And the ethical behavior that it begins to look into a municipal official a municipal councillor that have a conversation about rendering a business, but that business unethically is conducted to a point that it disadvantages in the conversation the end user, which is the community. And you'll remember, Chair, when you were leading COGTA, you raised this issue during the Professor Plakis research on electricity and the burden that is facing municipality. You said at the time, what is bad out of all this is that municipalities and everybody do these things in the expense of communities, and there is no interaction. I think Honorable Mkhalipi spoke about this issue earlier on. There is no interaction between the municipalities and communities, which are households that's supposed to benefit. And we are hard at work, Chair, trying to bring those ideas and views into fruition. And we can only succeed on that by engaging everyone. And we are very happy that we are seeing Minister COGTA and the department today, the Director General of the department, putting more energy in trying to resolve some of the issues that are complex in the municipal space. And we really appreciate that effort and that energy that is given, and we are getting to everyone. The only problem is in other departments, which we are expecting them to come on board very soon. And that is our take, Chair. And thank you very much for your time. And I'm very sorry to take long.
Thank you very much, Councillor Stofile. I see Councillor Ngoban is still on. I'll give you a minute if you still want to proceed. 1 minute.
Thank you, Chair. I would have preferred to come before the President so that the President went up. But I wanted to actually respond to what Honorable Mkhalipi raised, that we are saying we've achieved our target, but the problem persists in the municipalities. Now, in my 1 minute, I want to then say, Honorable Chair, our target as Salga, obviously, is to take...
When leaving, please turn left and then leave the roundabout at the third exit.
Honorable Chair, I think our target is to, as Salga, is to take the horse to the river. But we can't, there is no empowering provision in any legislation that authorizes Salga to enforce involuntary application. So what we do is to actually transmit a body of rules of what needs to be done to the municipalities. But we can't force, and we rely on voluntary application subsequent to our training. Now, if there is no application, we are not empowered to enforce involuntary application. That doesn't fall within our span of control. The people whom we think are empowered to actually enforce involuntary application are political parties, which currently they are not doing it. And also, to some degree, the Department of COGTA in the main. So I wanted to actually say, Honorable Chair, ours is to actually empower municipalities, but we can't enforce application. It's beyond our control. I think we'll be attempting the impossible if you then expect, if you are going to judge us whether post our training are people actually applying the knowledge that we have actually given to them. Thank you very much. I apologize for breaking that protocol of coming out of President. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, I think that's a point of debate. I wouldn't think that we're expecting impossible. Maybe we'll pick that up at another time. Let us just say at this point, thank you very much for your presentation. There are certainly lots of issues to discuss and certainly of concern to the committee. One is the issue of the state of municipalities and what role Salga can play in relation to issues of dysfunctionality and governance. The other issue is the influence of Salga in terms of the audit outcomes and investigations into irregularities and the level of influence that they have in the conduct of the councillors. The other area of concern for the committee relates to the whole area of service delivery. And I think we need to continue to share our ideas on this to see to what extent we can assist Salga to be strengthened so that their role and influence over the municipalities is stronger than they might feel it is at this point, because we think all of us have to put all our energies towards building more capable local government sphere, as well as much more effective and efficient service delivery at the community level. With all of that, let us therefore say we thank you for your presentation. And at this point, we will excuse Salga and would like you to exit the platform. And thanks very much. And this would also excuse those who would have come on behalf of the Salga presentation. We will be discussing the report on the Free State. To the extent to which members may be interested in the discussion, you could stay on. I have no problems with that. But let me then say, from where we sit, it becomes the discussion of the committee that is really cleaning up the report. But because it's a matter that has created a lot of interest, if there are members who are interested, we will. You can observe that's not an issue. However, the focus is going to be mainly on the members of the committee only to participate in this discussion. So whilst we allowing members to step off the platform, may we then ask that the agenda be flashed on the screen again? Thank you, Shireen.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, President of Salga and the whole of Salga team. Thank you very much for everything. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you very much to the committee.
Thank you. Shireen, please flash the agenda. So thank you very much. We are now going to be looking at the issue of the Free State Joint Oversight Report. Please show us the report, and let me introduce this report by saying members have had the opportunity to look at this report. It consists of three parts, if one may say. There's a preliminary background portion, which talks about how we came about with this whole issue of oversight visit. Then it includes all the delegations, whoever was part of this from the three committees. And then it gives us the next aspect, which is the discussion, which goes on to, don't flesh it further, just hold it. That gives us the participants on the day of the visit. You will see, therefore, that it goes through a number of things. And before I go into the details of this, I just want to say there is then the discussion of issues we raised. And then we then, at the end, end up with the specifics of the recommendations of actions that need to be taken that have been tabled in each of those municipalities largely, and then of course also covering the provincial and provincial sphere of government. And then I think at the end you'll have the list of delegates or participants from the municipalities. At a personal level, I'm satisfied with the structure of the report, And I am this point wish to ask the members to reflect on the report. So what I will then ask would be, can I just ask that we look at portion by portion until we get to the bottom of the report, in case members could have made notes that might be relevant to add, to improve, amend, or strengthen any other aspect. I will only be starting from the discussion, which is at the what is referred there as the statement, legislature statements of objectives. This relates to the comments that came from the provincial leadership, and then as you go further down, we go to the specific municipalities. So I will then start, if members will agree with that approach, I will then start asking that we just walk down the report so that you can comment if there's any correction. 3.1 refers to the comments from the Speaker of the Provincial Legislature of the Free State. You can just slowly scroll down so we can just see if any members have got any issues to raise. Scroll down on the... Yes, move on until we get to the bottom of the Speaker. That's it. Then, if there's any comment on that, you will indicate. In the meantime, would like to focus then on the next one, which is the comments from the Standing Committee of the SCOPA. If there's any comments, we move on to the comments from the Standing Committee of the Auditor General. Okay. Now, then we go on to the statements made by the Premier and the comments that were associated with that from Premier. Let's move slowly down. Those were the comments from the Premier. I will not be reading line by line. I just wanted to focus on the heading and then see if you got any issues to raise. Move on. That's from the Premier. And then, of course, we go to cooperative governance, traditional affairs, how human settlements. Let's move on. Those comments and engagement at that level. Move on. You had the MEC and the HOD, and then Department of Finance came in with their own comments. There, let's proceed. Comments, those were the comments. Then these now we go to the comments from the members with queries they raised and responses they got. There you've got questions to the Premier, and slowly, if we can just move down on those. Any comments on that? Comments from the Premier? This was the engagement with the Premier at the time of the discussion. Okay, let's proceed. Move on. Then we start engaging with the municipalities. If you look at that, starts with Mangaung. Their presentation on Mangaung. You then notice there quite a number of issues that they had raised as the municipality. Move on. quite a lot of issues. Okay. You now on the key issues raised by committee members, issues of capacity constraints, financial recovery plan, response by CFO, on issues of qualifications and issues of conditional grants, discussion on employee-related costs, abnormal financial and functionality of financial oversight structures. Move on, alleged improper employment practices, indigent verification, issues of preservation order from NPA, indigent budget allocation, debt collection services. Move on, consequence management, and goes to forensic investigations. Move on to issues relating to Department of Transport, then the turnaround strategy, going concern uncertainty, unauthorized irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure, Metro Zoo status, non-revenue water losses, and then there were certain summaries that were raised at that point. So, any comments on Mangaung? Okay. I think then we move to the next municipality. Here we go to Harip. Again, here you have the presentation. Let's move on with the presentation. Then it gets to key issues raised, overpayment of senior managers. Move on. Issues of grants misuse, issues of debts, debtors and creditor management, sanitation issues, non-investigation of unauthorized irregular wasteful expenditure, revenue generation, disaster management capacity, and the summary of issues. That deals with Harip. We go to Litsimeng. Again, move on those issues. Issues raised by committee, going concern, uncertainty, issues of third-party payments, ESCOM debts, councillors in arrears, move on, water sanitation issues, that's Litsimeng. You've got municipality dealing with non-technical water losses. Councillors have raised all of that. Vacancies and summary of issues on Litsimeng. Any comments? Let's move on to Kopanong. Kopanong, let's go through all the submission. Go to issues that were raised by members. Key issues raised. It relates to consequence management, payment of creditors, municipal redemarcation. We did make a point here that we think this demarcation be a challenge. Late submission of annual financial statements, non-compliance with drinking water standards, environmental health practitioners alerting on the contamination. Let's move on. Sewage spillages in Betuli. Move on, revenue collection. Section 139 intervention, comments, and then summary of issues raised. When you go to Mhokare, let's go through all those issues and get to key issues raised by the committee. Issues raised by committee. Yeah, we're talking about conditional grants, equitable share withholding, move on. Revenue collection, alleged irregularities in the process of electing new leadership, human resource issues, material irregularities, functionality of MPEC, and then the summary. Then you go to Lejeleputso. You keep moving now. Let's go to Lejeleputso. I think that's the next one. I can't see. Is that Lejeleputso? I can't see.
Yes, Chair, that's the key issues raised in
No,
legislative.
but where's the heading? Show us the heading. Yeah, that's it, right. Then move on the issues. Move on the issues until you get to the key issues raised by committee members. Revenue collection, support to local municipalities with the responses, human resource issues, and then summary. Any comments? Move on to Nala. Okay. Let's see, Nala. Key issues by the committee. Provincial leadership, their role. Let's move on. Dualism in council and administration, and then summary. Okay. Then you got Maceloniana, local municipality. Okay. So the next issue on the key issues, consecutive disclaimer audit opinions, consequence management, invalid non-compliant appointment of CFO, move on, misleading of parliament, move on, use of official mayoral vehicle for private use, sewer contamination, revenue collection, senior management remuneration, and then you get to the summary. Then you get to Tuguluho. Tuguluho, let's look at the issues, key issues raised by the committees. Unauthorized irregular expenditure, and responses they gave, officials implicated in the high masts, financial health, and the responses, water sanitation crisis, responses, human resource issues, and then summary. And then you go to Tsulopeli. Again, issues raised, key issues by joint committee, glimmer of hope. Look at those issues, service delivery protests, suspicious recruitment processes, wetland occupation, water sanitation, and summaries. That's it. Then we move on. Machabeng. Here, let's get the whole report. And then we look at the issues raised, alleged abuse of EPWP program. And members would note that there's been subsequent developments on this matter, which is not necessarily all part of this report, but it's been a matter of interest to the committee. Human resources, payment of Butung civils, contestation of court-ordered intervention, chronic sewage spillage, and summary. Then we go to Fazilet Derby, submissions and interactions, key issues, employee-related costs, fraud, unfair dismissal, and then summary. Then Mukaga, submissions, and then issues raised, unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure, grant under expenditure, credit control, mayoral vehicle, sanitation projects, and summary. Then the next one is Ngwate, submission, and key issues raised, court order, legal costs, financial management, appointment of senior managers, non-functional waterworks, and summary. Then Metimawulu, submission, key issues raised, financial management, consecutive qualified audit opinion, miscellaneous matters, and summary. Thank you. And then we go to Mafube, submission, key issues raised, unfunded budget, unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure, grant expenditure, outsourcing of electricity function, and payment of salaries, and summary. We go to Tabom Fusanyana, submissions, key issues raised, district primary mandate and functions, stalled culvert bridge project, and summary. Then go to Mantsupa. Here you've got issues raised, key issues, staff establishment, revenue collection, payment of creditors, municipal infrastructure sabotage, illegal land occupation and sewage contamination, and summary. Then you go to Maluti Apofu, submission, key issues raised, governance, pollution of fresh water sources, electricity outages, submission of credible financial statements, bonus payments, summary. Closed. Next issue, Sitsoto, submissions, key issues raised, accident involving speaker's official vehicle, graveyard tariffs and consequence management, water and sanitation, officials, selling municipal stands and vacancies, revenue collection, unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure, summary. We close that. We go to Titlabeng, submission, key issues raised, fraud cases, alleged clearance boreholes, alleged security tender corruption, installed housing site project, frequency outages of electricity, ghost workers, financial health, and functional ward committees, consequence management, and submission of statutory reports, public protector reports, technician of qualified audit opinion, infrastructure maintenance, summary. We move on. Twana, submission, issues raised, material irregularities, unauthorized irregular fruitless and wasteful expenditure, financial health, consecutive disclaimers, fraud, maladministration, issues with the Directorate of Priority Crime Investigations, summary. Next, municipality, Pumelela. Submission made, key issues, human settlements, financial health. Provision of electricity, land audit, incorrect and late billing, functionality of the municipal accounts committee, water and sanitation, summary. We'll move on. Now, overall observation by the Auditor General Office, Mr. Duda, dealing with the various issues, interrogation of the reports, committees should provide assurance, comes to conclusion, addressing concerns raised by the AG, joint committees welcome all commitments, then joint committee recommendations. Okay, then we start there. Minister to undertake to end all disclaimers, unfunded budgets, late and non-submission of statutory documents to the AG. 2, intervention immediately and decisively. To stop political interference associated with causes of political and administrative instability, to enforce discipline and professionalism in the management of municipalities. 3C is to introduce a decisive intervention to assist poor municipalities with no revenue base, financial systems, shortage of critical skills, poor service delivery capacity, and demonstrable public discontent. D, launch immediate investigation into cases of corruption and maladministration to be followed by internal disciplinary processes and referral to criminal justice authorities. Regular reports be provided. E, ensure audit readiness by providing national departmental support to municipalities long ahead of the arrival of the Auditor General's team. Approach must be to focus on improving administrative capacity and systems so that audit readiness may be done as a normal way of municipal administration and service delivery systems. F, reconsider the current process by Municipal Demarcation Board to separate Kopanong local municipality into 2 entities, as this will in all likelihood exacerbate unsustainability. Then 6.2, to the provincial executive. Undertake to end all disclaimers, unfunded budgets, and late and non-submission of statutory documents. Same B as above, introduce C, D as above, launch immediate investigation as above, ensure readiness as above. Same set of recommendations for the provincial government, and then beyond goes to set targets and timelines for each of municipalities to establish functioning audit-related performance structures, such as MPEC, disciplinary boards, audit committees, and related structures to ensure progress towards achieving improved audit outcomes. These are critical in ensuring that accurate annual financial statements and performance reports are provided. G, monitor and ensure investigation of all unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, wasteful expenditure by municipal public accounts committee in each municipality. Inspect relevant council resolutions to consider the outcome of investigations and the remedial steps and prevention of similar transgressions in the future. For all transgressions reported by the Auditor General, there must be a report on consequence management that will act as a deterrent against future transgressions. In the absence of these, the higher authorities need to intervene decisively and report to the provincial legislatures and national parliament. H, set timelines and targets for filling all vacancies in management, including filling of critical posts in the staff establishments such as financial management, and auditing to ensure that municipalities identify these posts and set timelines and targets for support, monitoring and reporting by provincial and national authorities, as well as terminate the proliferation of acting senior management appointment. I find alternative ways of addressing problem of appointment without MEC's concurrence, as the current intergovernmental court actions are excessive. The reliance on the courts to resolve intergovernmental dispute is not the best approach. Chapter 3 of the Constitution is specifically meant to prevent these three spheres of government from instituting court proceedings against one another. Premier's coordinating forum should not simply exist as formality, but should serve to foster cooperations on these matters. J, reconsider the current processes by the Municipal Demarcation Board to separate Kopanong into municipalities. K, conduct proper audit of the supernumerary personnel in the Lijwelepuza district that is not clear about its role and functions, as to establish the activities for which people are being remunerated and to determine the legitimate number of employees that should be on the municipality's payroll. L, take joint committees into confidence as what their role has been vis-a-vis impasse experience in Nala. The dualism phenomenon should be closed and finalized, and the provincial leadership should provide specifics in this regard, including the list of things to be done should the situation in the municipality fail to return to normality. M, furnish promise to report in connection with the process of appointing Masilonyana Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Makwae, including the outcome of application for declaratory order to reverse the appointment, whether the relationship between the municipal manager and Mr. Matlole and Mr. Makawa did not compromise the appointment process, as well as progress in addressing the rift between Masilonyana Mayor, Councillor Timotis, and the municipal manager. And to report back on the Masilonyana Mayor's conduct, the details there. O, furnish regular reports on actions undertaken to address Tukuluho's sustainability. P is further investigation in connection with alleged nepotism in Lijwelepuza. Q, monitor review Fezile Davi's district performance management system framework to correct the staff performance management deficiencies raised by the AG. R is to follow up on Mukaga mayoral car accident. S, the provincial government affirmed its support for Mafube local municipality on the rural maintenance matter. Several issues around the matter, essence being that municipalities' financial viability had been effectively undermined. T, provide report for both provincial and national legislatures on the bonus payment matter in Maludia Pofung. U, update on the actions taken in Ditlhabeng in relation to the cover 140 million owed to it by government departments, filling of senior posts, prevention of passing unfunded budgets, etc. And then V, follow up on municipal support intervention plan in Ketwana. W, determine targets, timeline, and monitor and report every 3 months on the fulfillment of the actions in relation to the matters above. Then we go to Mangaung issues and each of the municipality, Harib, Litsemeng, recommendations specific to each of these, Kopanong, Mohokare, specific to Lijwelepuza, Nala, Masilonyane, right to the end, Metimahulu, Mafube, Maludia Pofung, Tsitsoto. That's it. Report to be considered. And the list of delegates who represented the various municipalities is attached from Mangaung right to the last municipality. That is the report. You have the first hand there, Honorable Van Zyl.
Thank you,
Please.
Chairperson. Thank you, Chairperson. I'm jumping you, it seems. So, Chairperson, from page 70 up until the report ends on 88, we've got all these recommendations. I think it would be wise for the committee secretary to maybe have a live tracking document where we can have some other register on the resolutions and whatever the municipalities plus the province owes us on what we have asked. And then for us to make time in our diary as committee within the 3 months that was stipulated so that we can discuss those, because this can't be a report that we adopt on this committee, we debate in Parliament and then goes to file 13. So if I can just make that proposition. Thank you so much.
Before that, you need to start by proposing adoption and then how to act on it. May I ask you to do that?
Yes, Chairperson, I propose to adopt as is, and thank you so much to Mr. Sokomane for such a detailed report. Thank you.
Shank.
Babek, can I move to support the adoption, for adoption?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So the report is so adopted. So the next line in the adoption of the report includes one that we will then share this report and ask for the other committees to indicate if they've made any comments, but we would move that this report be adopted, one. Two, shared with the other committees to see if they've got any other amendments. Three, propose that this be tabled to Parliament as a joint report of the three committees. Four, that the Secretary must redo this report in a form of resolution tracking with a 3-monthly cycle of a day's discussions on the progress on each of the items. And Honorable Francais is correct. The structure of the resolutions that have been put here is to make sure that it is possible to track the reports and to track the progress and to discuss on the time that has been put aside every quarter with regard to the municipalities in this province. So if that can be structured and shown to the committee so that we're all comfortable that the issues raised in the report are possible to track every 3 months. That proposal is very helpful. And of course, the accolades to Andile Sogomani on the detailed report. We feel the committee feels that this report has captured all the necessary details and has made the record of our interaction with the Free State to be as accurate as we would like to see it. Thank you very much to Andile and Shireen on this one. Members, let's get further comments.
Jay.
Hi, Shireen.
Jay, we did share the report with the other committees as well as the Free State Legislature. There is members of the legislature on the platform. The Scopa Committee, they have a meeting at the moment. So they couldn't join us, but we didn't receive any comments from them. From the SCOAC Committee, both members did not have a problem with the report.
Okay, firstly, you said there are members of the Free State Legislature who are here. Did you say so?
Yes, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you. I had not noticed that. Thank you for mentioning that. Let me welcome the members from the Free State Legislature who are here. And I'm going to ask them to identify themselves. Please show yourselves on the screen and let's see who are the members who are here. And just introduce yourself on the screen.
Good day, Chair. Good day, everybody from the committee. I'm David Mackay from the Free State Legislature. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member? All right. That's fine. Thank you. Oh, here's another member. You are muted. You are muted.
Oh, sorry about that, Chair. And good morning to yourself and good morning to the rest of the honorable members. My name is Nolita Ndungane. I'm the Deputy Speaker of the Free State Legislature.
Thank you so much. Any other member, please introduce yourself. Okay. Our expectations from the point of view of this report is that the Standing Committee on the Auditor General has got a copy, and they will discuss that and share any of their comments with us, that the Scopa has got the report, and that the Speaker of the Free State will have the report, so that all the issues that are raised here are also, that the same report that is being discussed is also being discussed in the legislature of the Free State in whatever format. So if there are any comments from those, we will await their formal communication. We won't be taking any comments from the Free State Legislature at this point. Would like them to have a look at it as a committee, and then they can submit to us any of their written comments. But because we are not having a properly formalized thing that involves all the provincial and National Assembly team, we'll just let them observe here, but then on their own, at their own time, they will be able to look at this report. And then if there are any comments to us, then we will deal with them. But how they will want to manage and process it in their legislature is left up to them. We're quite satisfied that if we have the same report, we will all be tracking the same issues at the same time across the same municipalities with the same expectations. And that for us is what was the purpose of this joint oversight visit. Any other comments from other members? Honourable members, this report has been adopted, and this report has also been, has been referred to the various other parties which were part of this process. And we will then ask that the secretary should, one, liaise with all these different committees so that we can have a joint submission of this report to the National Assembly. Two, we also need the resolution tracking system that must be shown to the committee at the nearest possible time. Three, that the subsequent follow-up reports will be fed onto the system so that every quarter we are able to receive these reports and assess progress. And at that point, I think we should say we have concluded on the issue of the visit to the Free State. Then we have also done Northwest as well as Gauteng. Now with Northwest, we, I think, have a few municipalities that we had considered could be dealt with on a virtual platform, if we could then find a way to address that. And then there's also a number of municipalities in Gauteng which would also be followed up on a virtual platform. In terms of the physical visits, I have seen that there has been circulation of a date for the Eastern Cape. There's still a number of things that need to be tied up. One member had asked the question as to from which municipality will we be basing as we do this. I don't think all of that work has been concluded yet, and therefore we'll take this matter and clean it up and bring it back with firm information to guide in terms of the process going forward. And we're hoping that we could also close the year having done an additional province which was suggested as KwaZulu-Natal. And so we will then clean up those and then make them available to the committee. But from my point of view, this approach has been very, very helpful because it's going to allow us to have a standard tracking of all the municipalities and all the issues that we need to be followed up. And it does not necessarily require us to continue on physical visits, but at least we'll be able to make progress because of the first intensive engagements we've had with some of the municipalities in the different provinces. So I would like to continue in that regard. This report will obviously be shared with the Speaker so as to be able to make them understand that. So from the point of view of the committees, we think that this process has to proceed in the way that it has. Can I then say we close the issue of the visits on the oversight visit at this point, and then we'll make the announcement and try and close the meeting? Any other points that could be missed? In the absence of any other hands, this matter therefore is closed. Thank you.
Sorry, Chair.
Dabezita.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. I've been wondering whether there's room for considering post-mortems when we've had a big oversight visits like this one, because I think there definitely is there's a necessity for it. They just what to do differently or improve or stop doing as a committee. I'm not saying at this point in time, but when do we actually pause and look at the post-mortem, our own inward looking? Thank you.
Very, very interesting point, and I think very necessary, particularly because this has been a new learning experience that we have made lots of mistakes on and learned a lot of lessons. We should do that at any time when the members feel we might want to reflect on that. If there are any comments right now on that aspect, they would be welcome. If we want to sit down and collect our ideas and then put it as a matter on the agenda, we can do that. So I'm open for the committee to guide. If there's not much to discuss now, I would suggest that we table an agenda item which will be entitled Reviewing Our Approach on the Oversight Visits, and then we can have all the members comment. But if you want to start now, I see Honorable Lapuskachne is keen to make a comment, so we open. Let's just open that up. Honorable Lapuskachne.
Thank you, Chair. Now, I think I will go with your proposal that we find a date and a time to discuss this, because I think we have to address a few issues. Thank you.
I think that might be helpful. So what I would suggest we do is that on one of the days we must relook, because to be honest, what happened here, we had the Auditor General, we were stampeded into a response. We went into it with all the enthusiasm and then started having a lot of challenges. And somewhere along the line, we've never really sat down and cleaned up this approach, how this model will work, and what can be done, what can't be done, what should be done, what shouldn't be done. I would suggest that members could throw in their suggestions to Shireen to say these are some of the issues. They don't have to be structured. We just need to throw the ideas in there and then pull all of those ideas, throw them onto the committee to look at them. It doesn't matter how well structured they are. Whatever we can say, then we can look at it. But in the meantime, we could also ask Shireen, based on that, to see whether we can structure a kind of discussion document. I don't want us to focus too much on the neatness of such a document and such a discussion, because it's going to take us a while to refine a thing that we didn't go in with a properly researched framework. So we're going to develop it as we go, and therefore we must just correct each other, guide each other where we think that there are corrections and guidance that is needed. So you can throw in suggestions now, but even then, impromptu ideas will also be welcome when we discuss it. So Shireen, you'll bring that issue up. Discussion of the modified oversight model. If there are any ideas that are already with you, you can just table those, background of it, and then approach to it, various challenges that we've come across, various recommendations. You can throw it, and then members can just feed into those and can put it all together. With that, I think we'll be able to get a start of a discussion. I think more important is the discussion more than the restriction caused by whether the document is properly structured or not. So I think that we must accept that it will just be a free-flowing discussion at that point. There will be no restriction as to what can or cannot be discussed in relation to trying to hammer out the best of this experience. Thank you very much, Honorable Nkosi Buthelezi. I think that's going to be helpful, and Honorable Labuskaghni has supported the approach, so let's take that approach. Thank you very much. Let's move on then to closing this meeting with the update on the announcement. I think the favorite topic of Honorable Kalipi. Now, let me say, honorable members, the last time we were discussing this matter of the oversight visit, sorry, it was a budget we discussed, and you'll see that we haven't tabled any matter here. And so I'm not dealing with a pre-report here. I'm dealing more with a comment on the matter that I think members would have loved us to always update on. So the discussion we had indicated that a number of activities that were envisaged in terms of our strategic plan, one of them was the issue of the oversight of the overseas visit, which we thought was important to deal with in relation to studying the workings of the coalition governments and their proposed visit to Denmark. The second issue related to the oversight visits, which we had proposed should be based on this joint oversight approach for at least the 3 more municipalities, which was now, 3-4 more municipalities after Free State, because this is the time of the audit season that might, this oversight visit might impact on the future audit outcomes, seeing that it will be impacting on the area with a large number of municipalities. So, but that was met with a comment that this is likely to lead to overexpenditure of our budget. Then there are general other issues which are part of the day-to-day operations of the committee, such as the issues of public engagements in relation to the legal, the processing of bills that are coming through. One bill on coalitions, which should be coming soon, that there's IMSI bill. There's also the bill on the TKLA bill, which would require public engagement. So if you pull all of this together, it was going to amount to a huge over expenditure. And the committee felt it was difficult to reduce or remove any of these activities because of their importance. And so I was then asked to convey a discussion, to conduct a discussion with the House Chairperson in this regard. I just want to indicate that I have actually had an engagement, at a telephonic conversation with the House Chairperson to consider the issue of the budget. We've subsequently made a motivation for the review of the budget. And in this regard, I have raised a point that the oversight model is new, but because of the interaction of the Speaker and the Auditor General and the commitment of the 3 committees to make such an oversight visit to have the impact, and the fact that preliminary indications are that there could have been impact on some of the municipalities where we had a visit. We'd seen some of the informal reports indicating that there could already be some movements and changes that would have been coming from the Free State, although this was all anecdotal at that point because there's no formal report yet. So we felt that this needed to be supported, particularly as it goes through this period of the audit season. So the House Chairperson was sympathetic to that and therefore said he would consider that matter. The second issue was the visit to Denmark. Again, we indicated that the committee was constrained in this regard, and so we had therefore proposed an approach that would reduce the number of the members that would go into such a visit that would involve probably just about half the committee or just over half the committee, which meant that most of the members would go, but some will then obviously remain behind. And we've taken into account that there has to be a strong leadership on the committee, so there would be a chairperson and members of the administration to be part of it, and then also looking at each party being represented, and therefore that would need the House Chairperson to consider supporting the budget, because there'll certainly be a shortfall in this regard. So this has been submitted then to the House Chairperson. We're still waiting for his response, although in our preliminary discussion, the House Chairperson indicated sympathy for our committee request because of the nature of the issue of the oversight, which was quite topical, and of course Parliament was expected to be seen to have responded to the request for an additional effort placed on ensuring accountability and consequence management, which is what this program was. On the other hand, also the understanding for and sympathy for the fact that there will be a bill tabled with us, and such a bill would actually be involving a matter that all of us have not had any independent experience on, and therefore benchmarking with some of the global players in this regard would be helpful, and so was again sympathetic at that level. So let me say, therefore, we are waiting for the responses on that, and I'm not sure if Sherin has got anything new, but I just thought I must share that with the committee because there was a request made that we must approach the House Chairperson in this regard. If Sherin has got any other comments in terms of new information that I haven't seen, you might please comment, Sherin.
Thank you, Chairperson. No new information was shared with our office yet, so we're still awaiting. I know that the request went to the Office of the Speaker from the House Chairperson, so they're waiting for the Office of the Speaker's response before the House Chairperson responds back formally to the committee. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I will therefore follow the matter up. At this point, we shouldn't be contemplating much of changes in terms of our schedule. We should wait for that response, but the preliminary sense was that there would have been some sympathy, but then let's wait for the formal report. I think the formal report will obviously require certain information to be shared because of the preparations that are going to be necessary, but we'll talk about it at that point as and when the information arises. Just to also indicate that I did have a platform to interact with the Honorable Michalakis in relation to the processing of the bill. I just did some preliminary work to look at what had been discussed with the department, and then also there's been quite a bit of engagement outside formal committee with Mr. Michalakis in this regard. I think the long and short of it is that from where I sit, there has been a good interaction between Mr. Michalakis and the minister and the department, such that they report that there would have been 7 provisions that were made by Mr. Michalakis to the minister, largely relating to the time frames of the appointment of the executive committee, the time allowed for coalition government to be set, and also issues around, the how quickly the votes of no confidence could be tabled and those kinds of matters. Largely, they were generally agreed about that. There were probably 2 issues which I think, just for information, even though those matters will come formally, that they couldn't quite agree on. I think the one issue related to what we would call the threshold. Now, in terms of the threshold, there have been various issues raised. Mr. Michalakis had proposed a threshold of participation in the coalition government being for organizations that have already got 1 seat or more than 1 seat. Then there was another proposal that was also floating on the question of 1% threshold, for which is electoral threshold. Now, this basically talks about when the election results come out, which parties should be accepted to be part of the coalition. So it's an electoral threshold at that point. Now, in my view, of course, as we were discussing, we felt that this matter has not been quite closed, and it will obviously come to the committee. Although my feeling, as I was having a discussion with Mr. Michalakis, was that there should certainly be a discussion around the consensus. Obviously, we might all differ about it, about the threshold and electoral threshold, which is a global kind of a matter of global practice. However, 1 seat plus and 1% plus might just be a matter of semantics, but from where I sit, maybe a percentage is easier than just determining the seats, because the real argument that brings this matter up becomes the issue of the largest surplus now, and members will pardon me for going into this thing. I'm just giving you a sense that we did have a discussion with Mr. Michalakis. I don't intend you to start getting engaged in this discussion, but I'm just saying, because we've got time, just to indicate that we did have this kind of engagement. But the issue there is that there are fractions that remain after you have, decided how many votes the party has received in relation to how many seats, which is a quota. Now, that always creates a fight between parties on who gets which percentage, and that fight is difficult to deal with, and it's easier if it's dealt with after a cut-off percentage. So it's a matter that I think when members look at the bill, we'll obviously see that, and then we'll discuss at that point. My point right now is just to indicate that Mr. Michalakis did have a discussion with the department. So that's the one area of interest that I think members can look at. And I'm only mentioning just to tease the members' appetite for the matter when it comes, not really for discussion now. The second issue related to a matter which Mr. Michalakis referred to as the motion of no confidence should be assessed by an independent panel. Now, independent panel basically means you've got, the executive, you've got the council elected into office, and then some people get constituted on the side to decide whether they must accept a vote of no confidence or not. Now, it was felt that this matter was raising a lot of debate about the authority of an unelected body over elected public representatives who have got the full mandate to deal with the eventuality of all the issues raised in their operations. And therefore, the discussion was that maybe such a panel may not be of use, but that there must be a rule that could be utilized to process the motion of no confidence so that each council can decide whether they want to proceed with it or not. Those issues, so those are the two issues that are likely to come up in discussion. But at this point, my point to you as members was just to say that we have been following up on the private members bill. Now, with that, my impression, as I was discussing, and Mr. Michalakis was more or less agreed that with that, the contents of the private members bill have been largely assimilated in the new proposed bill. But the committee will have the option of debating the two outstanding matters itself when those matters are tabled to the committee. So with that, it then makes it a matter that is being processed, but we will all bring all of these matters when the bill is tabled. And I'd like the members to look forward to the tabling of the bill at that point, but you should at least be aware that these matters will be in the context of a lot, five out of the 7 issues having been absorbed into the bill and 2 still being outstanding for discussion, which I think there will be enough space for us. So that was just to indicate to the members that I have had further interaction with Mr. Michalakis in relation to the process of their discussion with the minister. But the matter is not with us yet. The matter is with the minister who must table the bill with us. And I'm raising this issue because that issue is subject of what is it that we will be looking at when we go into the oversight study tour. And this is part of what needs to be occupying our minds as that debate will be raging, because we'll come back and have to, make certain choices and guide on certain choices that must be taken by the South African system of government when we deal with the coalition issues. Those are just the briefings, which are really off the cuff from me, just to indicate that we have been managing some of these issues. So it comes as an announcement more than it comes for a point for debate. Can I then hold it at that? If there's any other matter that the members would like to raise, otherwise I'm going to ask Sherin to give us what would be coming in next week, if you've got that at this point. Sherin?
Thank you, Chairperson. I just want to share the updated program. Thank you, members. For next week, we are looking at the engagement with the Kings and Queens Forum, as well as the engagement with the department and all the other departments involved in the initiation process. The difficulty with that is that there's cabinet when we have committee meetings, so we're not sure if we can have ministers, but we're working on it. We're in discussion with the department for that one. And then next week is the end of the session as well. Then we'll go into constituency period. And then when we come back in the first week of October, we're looking at the Eastern Cape oversight visit. Thank you, Chair. After that, we will be dealing with annual reports as part of the BRRR process. Yes. And then on the 21st of October, we said we will be dealing with reports. But the reports on Northwest and Gauteng, don't think we'll be able to deal with it on the 21st of October, as we still have the outstanding municipalities that we must engage with, and we'll have to look at times when we can do the outstanding reports, the outstanding municipalities. In Northwest, we are looking at Moses Kotane, Moretele, Gekling, Madibeng, and Bujanala that we still need to have a discussion with. And then in Gauteng, we have also 6 municipalities that we must look at. It's Lesedi, Midvaal, Mogale, West Rand City, and Rand West City and the West Rand District Municipality that we still need to engage with. Thank you, Chairperson.
Honourable members, there we are. Honourable Francine.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm very worried about the Eastern Cape oversight only scheduled for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. There are 39 municipalities. Can we please?
39.
39. Yes, there's 6 districts and 31 locals and 2 metros. I'm from the Eastern Cape and I know the vast problems there are, and I foresee us not sleeping at all because it will take 24 hours on each day. Can we please revisit our schedule to make it the whole week, or just to revisit how we allocate times or whatever the case may be, because I'm, Chairperson, not prepared to go again for 36 hours and whatever the case may be. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I'll support you on the 36 hours. I don't think that some of us really want to stretch that way. This thing is very strenuous, and I think we got into that when we got stampeded into a situation. We learned a lot. From where I sit, I want us to propose concretely. 1, Honourable Francine, you're suggesting a week. Maybe let's make it 4 days, because I still want us to use this extra day to engage traditional leaders. So I want to propose that let's increase the days. That's the first issue. Secondly, can I ask the members, can you do priorities? Let's prioritize the municipalities that we think must be first to be seen. We won't see all of them. Even if there were 20, it would be difficult. We've seen now. So could I suggest that we have a bit of prioritization? Each member should just indicate which ones they think that need to be focused on, so that we can take a view across the province, take those, sample those that we think need to be given first attention. We can spend time now looking for the others that can go on a virtual afterwards. We may never finish as such, but we should somehow try to get the majority of them engaged, which means some in physical meeting and others in virtual meeting. Even if you don't meet all of them, the others we can do a desktop. So 39 is too much, and I think somehow let us get now concretely, what time do we start? How much do we make available for each municipality? What time do we end, so that you can be strict on each one? 2, which ones should we start with? Let's prioritize them and do a listing. If we can do that, that can really help us, so that things will still get out of hand. But it's better if we've got a much more focused and considered approach. Now, in the past, we discussed this. We really never had time to sit down and thresh it properly. Can we use this time now to try and make those suggestions? Honourable Labus Kachne?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I would also like to leave a little bit earlier if we're going to go on for a long time, because I have to drive into town to be in the plenary. My proposal would be to...
We're closing now. After these comments, we should close, but continue.
Yeah. My proposal would be to start at 8 o'clock in the morning, if it's possible. And my maximum hours of spending on the committee would be 10 hours. That means that we can go on until 6 o'clock in the evening. And if we start at 9 o'clock, we can go on until 7 o'clock in the evening. That gives us a reasonable time for having dinner at a reasonable time. And we are all spending a little bit more time to put in what is necessary. Now, if we can decide that is the beginning time and that's the end time and that is it, then we have to fit in the priority of municipalities in our time. Because the problem is we say this is our priorities, and then we have to fit the time in, and we always run out of time. And my proposal would be 2 hours per municipality. And that's it. And in that 2 hours, we have to decide what is it that we focus on. What is the things that we ask them to give the feedback on, and give them a time on each of those issues. To say to them 5 minutes, and then we spend 20 minutes to get to a question that should have been, or an answer that actually should have been in the proposal, is also not that easy. Not that it won't perfect it, but that's a proposal. If we say we give them 15 minutes of those 2 hours, and three quarters of an hour is spent on us raising questions, we'll go with that as well. And maybe we should also look at if we should get together as a committee and say these are the questions that we need to raise, or as parties, I don't know. So that we try not to ask the same question by 2 or 3 members of the committee. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. That's very helpful. I think the members, please note all of these suggestions because they're going to help us as we structure. I really hope that we can do. Eastern Cape is going to be very strenuous, so I don't think we must go there without a proper plan. It's going to be very difficult, and so let's work on it from that point. Let's note all of this. Please send all your comments to the team so that you can use them to structure the Eastern Cape. Give us your priority municipalities. Let's give you 2 days to do that. And then any other suggestions, like the one that's already been given by Honorable Skachne, let's work on that. So thank you very much, colleagues. We now note the report in the next week's program. We note the ideas of how we can structure the Eastern Cape. Give me more of your ideas in the next in the next 2 days, and then we move it from there. With that, members, thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned. Have a lovely day. Let's go join the plenary session on virtual or in person. Thank you very much. This has really been a very helpful session. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Chair. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.